Hello everyone, this is Dr. Jagannayaki, Professor in MBA Department, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Dundigal. Today, I would like to discuss about mechanics of report writing. So the last step in research process is report writing. So in previous session, we discussed what is the need for report writing and what is the format of report writing. Today, I would like to discuss about the guidelines to be followed when you are going to write any kind of research report. So there are very definite and set of rules which should be followed in actual presentation of research report, or even if you are going to write any kind of paper to the journals, you need to follow some kind of guidelines. The first one is size and physical design. So the manuscript should be written on unrolled paper in 18 inches by 11 inches size. So it is to be written by hand, or it may be written with black or blue-black ink should be used. Then we need to discuss about the margin. So whenever we are talking about margin, to make the report very attractive, we need to follow guidelines for margin. So on the left hand side, we have to leave 1.5 inch and all other three sides of the paper with 1 inch. So there should be also 1 inch margins top and bottom, and the paper should be neat and legible. So if the manuscript is to be typed, then all typing should be double spaced on one side of the page, only except for the insertion of the long quotations. So whenever we are using the quotation, also we need to follow the same type of guidelines. If the quotation is too lengthy, then the line space should be single space. If the quotation is small and short and simple, then in that case, we have to go with double spaced. The spacing should be there in between the lines. Then second, coming to the procedure, various steps in writing, the report should be strictly adhered, and layout, keeping in view of the objective and nature of the problem, the layout of the report should be though and decided accordingly adapted. So coming to the layout, we have three components of any research report: prefatory items, main body, and third one is end matter. So these three divisions we need to follow in the layout. Then coming to the treatment of quotations, the quotation should be placed in quotation marks and double spaced, forming an immediate part of the text. But if a quotation is of considerable length, it means that the quotation is of 4 or 5 sentences, then it should be specified with single spacing and indented at least half an inch to the right of the normal text margin. Next, the footnote. Regarding footnote, one should keep in view the following. The footnotes serve two purposes. The first one is the identification of materials used in quotations in the report, and second one is the notice of materials not immediately necessary to the body of the research text but still of supplement value. So these footnotes somewhere in the report we are going to use. So that is the reason, whether you are using for immediate purpose or you want to keep it in the secondary data, wherever necessary, that should be specified clearly in the footnote. In other words, the footnote are meant for cross references, citation of authorities, and sources of from where exactly you have extracted the data, acknowledgement, and elucidation or explanation of a point of view. So it should always be kept in view that footnote is not an end or a means of the display of the scholarship. Then footnotes are placed at the bottom of the page on which the reference or quotation which they identify or supplement ends. And footnotes are customarily separated from the textual material by a space of half an inch and a line about 1.5 inches long. And footnotes should be numbered consecutively. Usually we used to start with one in each chapter separately. So at the footnote of page, again the footnote number should be indented and typed a little above the line. And some cases we are going to use some kind of symbols like asterisk or the like one may be used to prevent confusion. And footnote are always typed in single space, though they are divided from one another by double space. And coming to the documentation style, regarding documentation, the first footnote reference to any given work should be complete in its documentation, giving all the essential facts that the edition used. Such documentary footnote follow a general sequence and the common order may be described as under regarding the single volume reference. So if you are going to have only single authorship and you are going to use only one single volume, then we need to specify the author's name in normal order and not beginning with the last name as in a bibliography, and followed by a comma, and then mention the title of work and should be underlined to indicate italics. Then place and date of publication and also the pagination references, which is nothing but specify the page number. For example, John Gassner, Masters of the Drama, New York, Dover Publications, Incorporation, 1954, page number 315. And another reference in case of multi-volume reference, author's name in the normal order, and rest of the things we have to arrange in the same manner. Regarding works arranged alphabetically, the works arranged alphabetically such as encyclopedias and dictionaries, no pagination reference is usually needed. In such cases, the order is illustrated as under. For example, Salamanca, Encyclopedia Britannica, 14th edition. So for this type of things, page numbers are not necessary to mention. And another example, Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin, Dictionary of National Biography. If there should be a detailed reference to a long encyclopedia, article, volume, and pagination reference may be found necessary. So it depends what type of reference we are going to incorporate in our research report. Based on that, we should select the appropriate mechanics. And regarding periodicals references, so name of the author in the nominal order, title of the article in quotation marks, and name of the periodical underlined to indicate italics, volume number, date of issuance, and pagination. So this format we have to follow related to footnote. Then regarding anthologies and collection of references, quotations from anthologies or collections of literary works must be acknowledged not only by author but also by the name of the collector. For example, if you are going to collect a particular reference, then apart from the author's name, we need to specify our own name as the collector. And regarding second-hand quotations reference, in such cases, the documentation should be handled as follows. Original author and title, quoted or cited in, second author and work. Example, J. F. Jones, Life in Polynesia, page number 16, quoted in History of the Pacific Ocean Area by R.B. Ebel, page number 191. And in case of multiple authorship, if there are more than two authors or editors, then in the documentation, the name of only the first is given and the multiple authorship is indicated by et al. Or and others. So subsequent references to the same work need not be so detailed as stated above. For example, Dr. Raju, Mr. Ravi, and others, Miss Soumya, like this. If we have more than three or four authors, in that case, you have to specify the first name as Dr. Raju et al. So like this, we have to mention. So it may be indicated as the bit followed by a comma and the page number. A single page should be referred to as P, but more than one page be referred to as PP. Then coming to the punctuation and abbreviations in footnote, the first item after the number in the footnote is the author's name given in the normal signature order. This is followed by a comma. After the comma, the title of the book is given. The articles such as A in quotation marks and the etc. So is omitted and only the first word and the proper nouns and adjectives are capitalized. The title is followed by comma. Information concerning the edition is given next. The entry is followed by a comma. The place of publication is then stated. It may be mentioned in an abbreviated form. If the place happens to be a famous one, such as LOND for London, N.Y for New York, N.D for New Delhi, and so on. So this is entry followed by a comma. Certain English and Latin abbreviations are quite often used in bibliographies and footnotes to eliminate tedious repetition. So to avoid too many repetitions, we used to follow the following English and Latin abbreviations. So this list is most common abbreviations most frequently used in report writing. So the researcher should learn to recognize them as well as he should learn to use them. ANON, anonymous, ANTE before. So like that we have to specify number of English and Latin abbreviations in our report. Then coming to use of statistics, charts and graphs. So in order to make the report attractive and even the people who do not have the knowledge of statistics, even a layman can also understand the data, whatever furnished in the report with the help of charts and graphs. So a judicious use of statistics in research reports is often considered a virtue, for it contributes a great deal towards the clarification and simplification of the material and research results. Statistics are usually presented in the form of tables, charts, bars, line, graphs, pictograms, etc. So such presentation should be self-explanatory and complete in itself. It should be suitable and appropriate looking to the problem at hand. Finally, statistical presentation should be neat and attractive. Then the final draft. Revising and rewriting the rough draft of the report should be done with great care before writing the final draft. Coming to the bibliography, it should be prepared and appended to the research report as discussed earlier. Then preparation of the index. At the end of the report, an index should invariably given the value of which lies in the fact that it acts as a good guide to the reader. Just looking at the index one can easily make out what is the report meant for. So in what page, what type of information presented, that should be analyzed very easily with the help of index. So index may be prepared both as subject index and as author index. The index should always be arranged alphabetically, and some people prefer to prepare only one index which is common for names of authors, subject topics, concepts and the like ones. Then what kind of precautions should be taken for writing research reports? So research report is a channel of communicating the research findings to the readers of the report. A good research report which does the task efficiently and effectively. As such, it must be prepared keeping the following precautions in view. The first precaution is that while determining the length of the report, one should keep in view the fact that it should be long enough to cover the subject but short enough to maintain interest. So we should not use the interest while reading a report. In fact, report writing should not be a means to learning more about less and less. A research report should not, if this can be avoided, be dull. So it should be such as to sustain readers' interest. So like that we have to write a report. And abstract terminology and technical jargon should be avoided. So the report should be able to convey the matter as simply as possible. It should be written in an objective style in simple language so that anybody can easily understand what exactly we are trying to communicate. Then readers are often interested in acquiring a quick knowledge of main findings. As such, the report must provide a ready availability of the findings. For this purpose, charts, graphs, and the statistical tables may be used for the various results in the main report in addition to the summary of the important findings. The layout of the report should be well thought out and must be appropriate and in accordance with the objective of the research problem. The report should be free from grammatical mistakes and must be prepared strictly in accordance with the techniques of composition of report writing, such as the use of quotations, footnote, documentation, proper punctuation, and use of abbreviations in footnote, and so like. The report must present the logical analysis of the subject matter. It must reflect a structure wherein the different pieces of analysis relating to the research problem fit well. So, whenever you are writing a report, we should not miss the logic of the subject matter. So, from the beginning till the end, we have to maintain the same logic and we should not deviate from the subject matter. A research report should show originality and should necessarily be an attempt to some intellectual problem. It must contribute to the solution of a problem and must add to the store of knowledge. So towards the end, the report must also be state the policy implications relating to the problem under consideration. It is usually considered desirable if the report makes a forecast of the probable future of the subject concerned and indicates the kinds of research still needs to be done in that particular field. So everything we need to mention what is the future scope, and that is also mentioned in the research report, and appendices should be enlisted in respect of all the technical data in the report, and bibliography of sources consulted is a must for a good report and must necessarily be given. An index is also considered an essential part of a good report and as such must be prepared and appended at the end. So report must be attractive in appearance, neat and clean, whether typed or printed. Calculated confidence, its limits must be mentioned and the various constraints experienced in conducting the research study may also be stated in the report. An objective of the study, the nature of the problem, the methods employed, and the analysis techniques adapted must be clearly stated in the beginning of the report in the form of introduction. So finally, the research report, it consists of the three things: prefatory items where we used to specify introduction index, list of tables, list of graphs or charts. If you are going to use any kind of abbreviations, and specify list of abbreviations, etc. Then coming to the main body. So here we have to mention introduction. So in the introduction itself, we have to mention the topic introduction under study and need for the study, scope of the study, objectives, methodology, limitations, chapterization, everything mentioned under main body. So complete methodology we have to specify under main body, then end matter. So under end matter, you need to include bibliography, annexures, and if you are going to include the appendices, everything should be mentioned in the end note. So this is a brief introduction about how to write a research report. So what kind of mechanics we have to follow in order to make the report very attractive, and also what type of precautions we have to take while writing a research report. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.